Hey everyone, welcome back to Wicked Wands Tarot. My name is Carmen, and today we've got a reading for you about somebody that is being tested after having recently gotten through a pretty difficult time. So, you may have gone through a breakup, you may have had a lot of change or instability in your career or with your finances, your family. But it's like you're waiting to, or hopeful that you're going to have a bit of a break, that you can just kind of like put your feet up for a little bit and then move on, but then something else happens. We have quick time event. You probably want to relax through this cutscene after defeating that powerful foe. The fight took a lot out of you, but the developers know that there's still fight left in you. Let's test your reaction time. And then we have the thief. The thief isn't necessarily evil, but they do tend to work for self-serving reasons. Their niche, sorry you guys, this is like kind of hard to read sometimes. Their niche skills can prove to be useful if you make a friend of one, but they often cause conflict among party members. So there's going to be some sort of upheaval within a social circle. And the issue here is that it takes a little bit for people to realize what's going on, and there's some level of exhaustion. Like, I've just gotten through like a really difficult time at work, or I had to spend a bunch of time dealing with some family stuff. So just prepare yourself. There's going to be something that is a little bit challenging. Let's call in spirit with a little bit of wind chime time. And we're going to dive in with the what's the news. I'll tell us what it is that you're facing. A little bit more specific anyways. You could be like a fake friend. We'll see if the frenemy card comes out. We have liftoff and ghost. Fast action, progression forward, the wait is over. Regarding something that has not had closure, someone who disappeared. Dirty money and love bombing. So this person who has ghosted you, there's some sort of urgency that has hit them and they feel like they need to reach out. It could be that since we already had the thief come out and now we have steal on the dirty money card, it could be that this person is running from some legal consequences and that they are trying to cozy up to you to avoid some consequences or get out of somebody's radar. What else? Laughter, happiness, joy, healing, and fed up. Over it, not having it, and frustrated. So there's a very strong contrast between how you two have been dealing with this ghosting situation. I do feel like there's been a shift for you where you've been focusing on your healing. Does that mean that you are laughing every single day? Not necessarily, but it does mean that you got over this connection that they feel you're still interested in. This is the Golden Art Nouveau. What else do we have? Oh, I should probably say, if you're interested in a personal reading, my email address is wickedwandstarot@gmail.com. It's in the description box, as is more information on how to become a member. Also, I am pre-recording this, or I'm recording this ahead of time to make sure that you all have some content over the weekend, because I'm going to be a little bit too busy to record. So, sorry for not being able to respond to your messages, but I hope you all are having a wonderful day. Queen of Wands, the Eight of Cups, Page of Pentacles in the reverse. Yeah, this is someone who likes to walk away from you, someone who likes to end things abruptly with people, and they're dealing with some trouble. This trouble has escalated quickly. They feel a lack of control. They may want to ask for your advice. They may feel like you could help them financially, but they are looking to you to solve this problem or like make it better for them somehow. They're planning a trip to where you are. I do feel like they know how to find you, but I also think that you would be of the opinion that this person wouldn't go to those lengths, that maybe they're far enough away where it doesn't make sense. Maybe they made it clear that, it was over. I don't know. There's something here where it's like if this person were to show up, I think you would be pretty shocked by it. King of Cups in the reverse. Seven of Pentacles in the reverse and the King of Swords. Yeah. They wanted to find you like heartbroken and missing them. Not really too engaged with anything else. But what they've come to realize is that you're exhibiting this King of Swords energy, which makes it feel like you've learned a lot in their absence, that you're looking at things through a more logical or practical lens, not as susceptible to their illusions or their little tricks, right? Page of Wands in the reverse, Nine of Pentacles, and the Ten of Cups. I think they're showing up where you live. And I think that their goal is to have you help them with something. They're going to be very kind to you. They're not going to tell you the whole story. They may let you know that they need your help, but they look at you as somebody who either has what they need to address this problem or that you're a nice person. So if they ask, you will help. This is the signs of the times. Remember that kindness does not always equate to weakness. You can be kind and also measured with that kindness, right? You don't want to be a doormat, and you don't want to be like a curmudgeon, right? Flamingo, fun. Yeah, you still have to be fun. So there's this new sense of wonder that is hitting your life, and it does seem to be associated with independence or letting go of this connection and perhaps others. Letting yourself daydream about new possibilities. You're maybe even thinking about moving or changing certain elements of your life, maybe even like who you hang out with. But we've got Ancestry, Treat, and Infinity, Unlimited Potential. You're thinking about what you could potentially do and where you want to have roots. You may feel influenced by what obligations you feel you have with your family. You may feel like there are some decisions that are not really your own, but I do feel that there's this drive that you have to find a great situation for yourself, like you and yours, right? You're not going to settle or get stuck. And with the Queen of Wands and Nine of Pentacles, there's something here about being able to manifest in a lot of opportunity. People are looking at you as having a lot of potential. High Priestess, Tower in the reverse, and the Two of Wands. However, this person who's coming back around, the Emperor in the reverse, they have not necessarily been seeing what you've been up to. They may be assuming that you are the same as you were when they left the last time. They may not realize that you are as wise as you are now. With the Two of Wands, we have another reference to somebody making plans. And I feel like this is plans to come see you in person. Seven of Pentacles in the reverse. The Lovers. Devil in the reverse. And the Magician in the reverse. So they're going to make it sound like something has been unfair, that maybe someone has failed to make good on their end of the bargain. They want to make it seem like they've done what they needed to do and they're not getting what they're supposed to be due, but they're holding themselves blameless. They're not willing to take any accountability for the situation that they're in. And this is where the truth and the lies start to meet, right? They're controlling your access to information or controlling the narrative so that you feel like you have to do something to help them when the actual like reality is that they put themselves in that situation, or they didn't act when they could have to minimize the damage or the risk to them. Knight of Pentacles in the reverse, Queen of Swords in the reverse, and the Three of Wands in the reverse. So this obstacle that they didn't want to deal with, that they are not being honest with you about, this has caused some sort of limitation for them. Three of Wands is in the reverse because there's action that they can't take. There's something here that they can't do on their own. It could be as simple as I'm not supposed to be driving on my own, or I can't be in that city at this point. I have to stay away from my family. There's more to the story than they're willing to explain. The Empress is in the reverse because there's a failure to be compassionate or considerate of other people's feelings. Someone who's made a selfish decision and now is hoping that you kind of like make up for whatever the problems are that they encountered. So they're coming through with this love bombing energy, like, oh, you look so great. It's been so long. I've missed you. So can I borrow $10,000? Oh, thanks. You shouldn't have. No, really, you shouldn't have. This is a warning because I feel like you're already going to know that this person is capable of this kind of shenanigans. But you may also second guess yourself because you don't want to be heartless, right? This is the Mean Cat Major Arcana. Temperance in the reverse. The Devil in the reverse. Wow, the Angel and the Devil in the reverse. This is like they're saying neither of them claim him. And the Hanged Man. Look at this. As I was saying, neither the angels nor the demons claim this person. The Hanged Man. Indecisiveness. So this is someone who's stuck between being their best selves and failing to learn those lessons that would enable them to be that. They haven't done all the work. They've done some of the work. It's like if they were to turn in their homework and it's only half done. And so they have to choose. Are you going to finish this or are you going to like drop out? Because you got to choose. This is the Cats Rule the Earth. What else do we have, please? Knight of Wands, Eight of Wands, Temperance in the reverse again, the World in the reverse. They're coming back in. They want to ask for a favor. They want you to fix some issue for them. They're going to tell you, I think, a decent amount of the story, but they're going to leave a decent amount of it out as well. The part where they started it, or the part where they made it worse, or the part where they actually did know that this was a deadline. With the World in the reverse, they have to get out of a particular area or neighborhood or city. I feel like they're hiding. Eight of Swords in the reverse, Four of Cups. This person might literally be on the run. This person could be avoiding a fight because they've upset someone who likes to throw hands. We have the Two of Pentacles. Got it. The Three of Swords. And the Queen of Wands in the reverse. Two of Pentacles in the reverse is instability, a lack of accountability. If there are brothers or sisters that you know to be a problem, or friends that you know maybe there's some bad influence happening here, yeah, this is the problem. I feel like you already know. But with the Queen of Wands in the reverse, this is somebody who wants to pretend that they haven't done anything that bad. They just need to kick it with you for a little bit. I don't think this is an endorsement of that. I think this is saying be cautious. It's better to focus on the new things that you're working on in your life. It's better to let go of this connection. Seven of Pentacles, because you've learned what you needed to from it. And they are not changing. They're not like holding themselves accountable. They want to just tell you part of the story so that they can get what they want. No, that's not cool. This is the Metamuse. What else do we have? The Lovers, the Hanged Man in the reverse, and another Eight of Cups. So the choice here is to continue to give this person the benefit of the doubt after they have shown you that they're willing to be dishonest with you and mislead you on the particulars of a situation, or you can walk away as this person has done to you. I feel like they're going to try to make you feel guilty. Four of Pentacles in the reverse. I do think they're going to tell you about their financial issues and tell you that somebody has targeted them or somebody had it out for them. That things were not fair for them. That they've been managing everything on their own. But here's the thing. You've gone through some pretty significant spiritual awakening. That's why we have the Metamuse card, the Tree of Life. So when this person's trying to lie to you, I do feel like your spidey sense or your intuition is like, that doesn't sound quite right to me. I don't know about all that. So I think you do call into question if this person would be willing to lie. And your assessment is, yeah, I mean, they've lied to me in the past. Six of Swords in the reverse. Hierophant. They want to show that they've played by the rules and things still went wrong so that you help them. And I feel like you've already seen this happen before. Emotional immaturity, acting out, petulance, King of Swords in the reverse, and dishonesty. They're getting defensive and being difficult to talk to because the more you find out, the more they're at risk of not getting what they want. So they have to frame it in a certain way. And again, they haven't changed. So if they're trying to convince you that this wasn't their fault because they have changed, that doesn't seem to be the case, at least not for the person I'm reading. What do we want? We'll go with the Gold and the Normand. What else do we have? Number 18, the Dog, loyalty. The Ship, number 3, and the Rider, R-I-D-E-R, number 1. They're coming in to visit you. They're not local, or it's been a while since you've seen them. And they're expecting you to be this loyal, whatever you say. Of course, I can help you. Yeah, go ahead, crash on my couch. They expect you to say yes. They expect you to not ask too many questions and to help them with what they want. Why do I have a feeling that they're wrong about this? It just seems to me like you aren't going to fall for their games. This is the Gypsy Oracle. What else do we have? Foe in the reverse. Despair and haughtiness in the reverse. They're frustrated because it seems like you don't really hate them, but you also don't want to be with them. You're indifferent. That is some pretty crazy territory to be in. Because if you know about emotions, you know that when you hate somebody, there's still some kernel of love or like pain tied to love with that person. When you just like turn the emotions off and you're indifferent, that's when it's like really done, really over. And that's what they're picking up on is they can't seem to elicit any emotions or sadness. Maybe you are wishing them well. Maybe you're even willing to give them some advice, but whatever they want you to do for them, you're like, I don't know about that. You might be otherwise distracted. You might have too much going on. You might not be feeling well. You might feel like they're just always going to run into these same problems because they don't want to be honest about how they got there. With constellation and money. They stole something. They took something that wasn't theirs and they don't want to deal with the consequences. And I feel like your advice to them is you gotta like deal with your things, you know? That's your consequences. They're not gonna like that. This is the Crow Tarot. What else do we have? Queen of Pentacles. Five of Wands and the Star. And the Four of Cups in the reverse. So there's maybe going to be a little bit of awkwardness, a little bit of an argument, maybe even some desperation from this person because they need money. You're going to ask for it. And I feel like your response is to not respond or to decline because you know that this is something that they have to deal with on their own and that they haven't given you the whole story. Because when you ask a question or two, they get defensive. And I think you've seen this before. I think you've got a pretty clear idea of how they act when they're hiding something. Hanged Man in the reverse. Eight of Wands in the reverse. Nine of Swords, Three of Swords. So they were very confident, rolling through, just like, okay, I'll show up and this person's going to help me. They've helped me before. I know it. All I have to do is tell them what's going on, but it's not the way that they expected it to be. You don't want to talk to them. You leave them on red. You don't answer the door. You don't answer the phone. Or you say, no, thank you. I can't do that. So they don't get what they want in part because they have been dishonest about what's really going on and the role that they played in this. And because you're too smart for that. Because your intuition is telling you not to trust their story. You've seen how they act in the past or you know what they're capable of. So they might get a little bit frustrated. They might lose their temper. Heart fog, mixed signals, blocked emotions, messed up. They messed up. Now they feel trapped and they could have some legal consequences here. Their daydream led them to believe that you would help them out of this difficult situation because they did not want to face those consequences. So they remembered how you've treated them in the past. They felt like maybe you could help them escape what they were going through. They do consider you to be one of the kindest people that they've met. They're probably also very attracted to you. But they thought that if you had the ability to help them with something, that you would, because you've looked at them as someone who has not gotten a lot of help from others. But this conflict that they tell you about, you know that there's more behind the story than, you know, the couple of sentences they share with you. And you've been working to create this new life for yourself. You don't want to deal with that elusive, unpredictable, unreliable, and probably impulsive energy that this person brings with them. So I do feel like you offer advice, do what you can, but it's not going to be what they're asking for because it's not a fair ask to be honest. At least not from what I can see. So, all right, let's get a few from... we'll go with Johnny's deck. What else do we have regarding this person's request? What else do we have? Cheaters. Cheater or thief. Seven of Swords. Betrayal, deceit. Queen of Pentacles. They steal from people. And they look at you as somebody who has the resources. If you let them stay, they might take something of yours. If they ask to borrow 20, they might find a way to take 100. This is someone who's not going to make the most of what you offer to help them. They will always be looking for other people to do things for them or to make it like easier for them, right? So we have the Hierophant and the Seven of Cups. Trust your instinct. They're trying to create confusion. They're trying to make it seem like they're deserving or that you're somehow being cruel or disregarding their need. But they're banking on that loving energy of yours to help them in this difficult situation despite a lack of information, despite your gut telling you that you can't trust them. So if you can't trust them, if they're not willing to tell you the truth of the situation, I don't blame you for being hesitant or unwilling. So Page of Cups, King of Rods, or King of Wands. There is something else that happens that might distract this person from you, and it's like there's an opening here for you to just kind of excuse yourself from the table or not have to deal with this anymore, because there is something telling you that if you do what this person is asking, it's going to lead to arguments and probably some loss. If they've stolen something from someone else, they might steal from you, or they may have already stolen from you. So I see you being cautious and not really feeling like you can trust them, therefore not being interested in whatever they're proposing. So trust your intuition and avoid a loss. Love you guys. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you on the next reading. Toodles.